The following video is a clip from the Geeks, the Multiverse podcast. We upload new episodes recapping and discussing news and rumours on the last day of every month. So, if you stick around and like what you see, maybe consider checking it out.
Peacemaker, Season 2, Episodes 3 to 7, spoiler discussion. If you haven't seen these episodes and you want to, first of all, what are you doing? They're out. Go watch them. Second of all, maybe click off this part of the video, but make sure to come back when you have seen them. So, the season was off to a bit of a slow start, but I think these episodes in discussion, certainly 5, 6, and 7, although they're much shorter episodes, they picked up the pace a little bit, and we've got some incredible stuff. Some of the best the show has ever put out in its 2 seasons, I think. I mean, that last episode was, wow, really, really good. Really strong. Yeah, what do you think of the season so far leading up to the finale next week?
Yeah, I wish that maybe, I can't remember, it's 3 or 4 or 4 and 5. There's 2 of them, I think, that could have just been one episode. You could have condensed them down a bit, and maybe obviously not like an hour long, but I think you could have got a good 50-minute episode out of 2 of them, and then have one other episode set in the other world. But I guess from what they revealed at the end of the last episode and the start of this one, I guess he couldn't have spent too much time in there before actually turning around and seeing a fucking mural of Adolf Hitler and stuff. But I would have really liked to see another episode just set and exploring that other world, because now we don't know from what they've set up for the finale episode. They've sort of done with all that. Maybe it was sort of a very short little side arc. It's like what they did last season, where they sort of had 2 finales. They wrapped up one plot in the one, and then the second part they wrapped it up in the second episode. They had his dad's story was in episode 7 last time, and then the butterflies had the 8th episode as the big finale, and now it seems they're doing that with Argus this time. They've wrapped up the whole Nazi Earth universe with the 7th episode, and now they're gonna deal with the other storyline that has been going on in the next one.
Yeah, the next one seems a lot more Argus centered. Yeah. From what we've seen from the trailer. I mean, to be fair, next episode is an hour long.
They've barely shown anything.
Yeah.
No, that I agree with.
What we could see, I really have no fucking clue what the next episode's going to be, and how the series wraps up and how it sets up Man of Tomorrow. I have no clue. But I do tend to agree there. It's wrapped up. It's Earth X plot with episode 7 with room to return. I think they've still got Keith alive, and he looks pretty vengeful by the end of the episode. It's interesting. We talked about when we saw it how Keith in Earth X is kind of in he's kind of in the same position as Chris is, and Chris was at the start of season 1, where his dad's dead, his dad's
not dead yet, but
yeah, but you know what I mean. He's vengeful. His brother's dead, and he's kind of alone and in hospital, and it's set up a nice, interesting duality with him and Chris, and we could essentially see him become Chris's arch nemesis, which would be a very interesting setup for the future. When and if he'll return, I really don't know. But this is kind of the second character now that is in another universe that is a parallel of another character on Prime Earth that is open to return. First we had Ultraman in Superman, and now we've got Captain Triumph in Peacemaker in Peacemaker season 2. And James Gunn said on the Peacemaker podcast recently that he kind of sees this as an dark origin story for Captain Triumph. So this kind of leads me to believe that maybe, and I know we were talking earlier about Brainiac and stuff, and I would much rather it be Brainiac than sort of a multiverse story in Man of Tomorrow. But it kind of leads me to believe that it might well be with, several characters from several different universes who are, parallels to our own Prime Earth characters open to returning. It just kind of leads me to believe that maybe we might be getting some multiverse shenanigans in Man of Tomorrow.
Oh,
I could be wrong, and I hope I am.
I hope you're wrong.
Yeah, I hope I am, but I don't know. It just seems a little coincidental. No, not coincidental. It seems very purposeful, actually, that there are, these two characters that are open to return.
No, I agree there. I do think they're setting something up. I don't know what it is. I wouldn't mind it if it's not in Superman 2. Like I said earlier, I think Superman 2 needs to be... Well, sorry, actually, it's not actually a Superman 2. It's not the direct sequel to Superman or whatever the fuck. I'm not interested in... Well, I'll watch it, but I'm not locked in on that as much as I would be if it was just the main Superman characters. I don't need more multiverse Superman for now.
No.
For now.
No, I totally agree. Yeah, for now. And don't get me wrong, like James has definitely got a much better handle on the multiverse than
Marvel,
a lot of other studios do. And it's not just Marvel. I mean, everyone's fucking having a go at it.
I'm surprised the boys haven't done it yet.
Actually, me too. Yeah, I'm actually really fucking surprised they haven't done that yet, considering they kind of aim to.
Oh, they kind
everything.
of did, but it wasn't actually terrible. They did that like anthology show kind of thing, and that was not like canon to the show.
Oh yeah,
but I guess technically it's like a multiverse thing, but it's not. It's just a non-canon like thing to the show.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I think it was like one canon episode, wasn't there, with like Homelander's origin in his first mission or something
like that. Yeah, I didn't watch it. I'm not even watching. I've got to say that new Gen V show, like the new series. I forget it's even out at the moment.
I've watched the first few episodes. That actor who... This is totally irrelevant to Peacemaker.
Yeah, sorry, Peacemaker, Superman stuff.
Do you know that actor who died in between, like just after the first season came out?
No.
Oh, there was like a main act, like one of the main characters, and the actor died.
Really?
Yeah. This young lad. I can't remember his name, to be honest.
Oh no, wait, I've heard of this. Wait, no, yeah. I don't remember. I don't remember which character it is, but
it was the magnet guy.
Okay, it's been a while. I don't remember. I'm seeing who it is now. Unfortunately, I don't remember the first season enough to know who this guy is.
That's so fair. But yeah, so what they did was they killed... Spoilers for Gen V as well. I should put a disclaimer in there as well.
Fucking lay it on
me. They killed the character off sort of off screen in between seasons. And I swear to God, for the first 3 episodes, it's just characters talking about how he's dead.
Oh my God.
It's really, and it's like, fucking hell, can we get on with it now? Because it's just like every conversation between characters is like, say his name was Derek. It's like, Derek died. What? Derek died? Yeah, Derek died. This is not and then the other conversation would be like, this is not what Derek would have wanted. Or whatever.
My God.
The whole fucking show is just that. But anyway, moving back onto Peacemaker. How did we get onto the boys?
The multiverse stuff.
Yes. So James Gunn, he's got a pretty good handle on the whole multiverse story. It's a lot more intimate. It's not about cameos. It's not about, ooh, look at all this. I think if it was a different person handling this, you'd see the Justice League or the Justice Gang,
Superman,
or whatever.
Overman, whatever.
Yeah,
Red
you'd have
Sun,
all of
Superman, whatever.
Yeah, you'd have all of that. But it's been a little bit more restraint, I think. So he's not the worst person to handle a multiverse story, but I kind of want to put a little bit of a cap on that for now.
Yeah, it needs to be a bit more of like a diverse story output than just multiverse stuff after multiverse stuff after multiverse stuff. But Superman was kind of like in between. It had like the other like dimension, but it wasn't like they were going to another Earth and it's heroes and whatever.
Yeah,
They sort of left
Which it
that like
seems-
open-ended.
Which it seems like the next episode of Peacemaker will be. I mean, apparently Gunn pitched this episode to Zaslav in his initial DCU Chapter 1 spiel. Like this episode specifically, not even the season, I don't think, but this episode specifically was like a part of the pitch. It was his own part of the pitch.
Bitch.
So, the pitch. For those of you who don't know, it's been a long
We have done
planned
one of
series
them
on the channel to do like a pitch video for X, Y, and Z movies. We were going to do it for Spider-Man No Way Home, and we never did. We're planning on doing it for Man of Tomorrow. We probably never will. But it's like a little in-joke that we're planning to do this series, and it never ever happens. We should pitch the pitch.
The bitch. Oh man.
But yeah, where was I going? Oh, yeah. There were quite a few nice little twists and turns with this whole multiversal reveal. Obviously, it's Earth X that the Nazis won the war, and Keith and Peacemaker on that Earth seem to be, the whole family dynamic is like the opposite from the Prime Earth, where Augie is the Nazi, and then Keith and Chris both sort of revolt against that. And then on this Earth, it's the other way around, where it's revealed that Augie's actually not a Nazi. It's actually quite a good commentary on like centrist behavior and like how people,
He'd be against it, but he don't want to do anything about it.
Exactly, yeah. And it's this kind of like commentary on thinking of like, well, is this bigger than me? How does one person stop this entire thing? And it's it's quite a nice commentary on that. Whereas Keith and it seems like Chris, who we've been hearing for episodes now that he was a bit of a douche and he had a lot of problems on that Earth, seems like they are the Nazis. Which we get a big chase sequence with Adebayo in episode 7. Which, can we just talk about that for a second? About how there seems a very coincidental and very convenient that she decided to jump in the pool and then everyone else decided to follow her instead of circling her or her just running around the pool in the first place, leading to Judo Master saving her with the whole electric shock thing.
The telephone wires, the power cables, yeah.
Yeah, it just seemed like a very convenient setup, which would be counterintuitive to the best way to get away, which is just run around the pool.
Yeah, she just like jumped in and started swimming.
Yeah, it's like, why would you do that? And I get you could say maybe, she was panicked and she didn't know what to do. But then there were a whole group of people that could have surrounded her and captured her.
They all went through the pool as well.
Yeah. So there were a couple of things in that episode that were like very... They served as a setup for something as opposed to having any real world sense.
Yeah.
Like Chris missing, like Chris is ignorant, but there was a whole ass Hitler mural.
Yeah.
How did he not?
Fucking like Naked Gun ass fucking twist there.
Yeah. It was very funny, but it served the joke more than it served the reality of the situation. But yeah, that was apparently that was a 3-part joke where she points out Mein Kampf and then she points to these guys with Hitler mustaches around a water cooler and then she points to the mural and they shot it and these actors had to walk around with Hitler mustaches in their day-to-day lives for like 2 or 3 days and they weren't even in the show.
Oh man.
She'd be pissed. But yeah, it's been a strong couple of episodes. I think I'm really digging this season, and I'll be interested to rewatch it and in perhaps a little bit more of a bingeable fashion to see how it sits on a second watch. But I think it's been going pretty strong. Yeah, is that safe to say?
Yeah. I just wish the episodes were all longer. Like, I mean, like they're good still. I don't think, personally, it's been as good as the first season was because I think that had such a much better, like, tighter narrative and there was a lot less crazy shit going on that they had to sort of divert away from. And, like, every episodes feel like it moved the plot along, like, a lot.
Yes.
You think of like some of the episodes where, you know, there's like the one where they go to the factory and they learn about the bugs and I keep calling them bugs. Sorry, I've been playing Helldivers. Bugs is just in my head. The butterflies, like they learn about them. I don't remember like a filler episode in the first season, but I feel like a couple of these have been
sort of filler-ish. Yeah.
like they do move the plot along more than like a, you know, a complete sidetracked episode. But some of the like 35-minute episodes or whatever, 37 minutes, they've been quite slow, even though they're not like they're quite short episodes. They feel like they've moved along quite slow.
Yeah, the season has meandered a little bit more than perhaps the first one did. Which I mean, I don't mind terribly. I think that's why I want to rewatch it. Because on a rewatch, I wouldn't have an expectation for the plot to move forward.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be watching going, right, where are we going with this episode? I kind of know where we're going with that episode, so I can just kind of watch it for what it is.
I feel like...
But yeah, I do tend to agree.
Yeah, I feel like some of the episodes, like, I can't remember if it's 3 and 4 or 4 and 5. I think it's 4 and 5. I feel like if they released them two on the same week, I'd have been, like, fine with it. Because they're obviously both, like, shorter episodes, and I wouldn't mind if they dropped, like, just those two on the same week, because I feel like those two were the two that like sort of like took me back a bit and was like, that was it. Like even that like 30-minute episode we just had, I wasn't like, that was it. What did I just, you know?
See, I think that might potentially be the strongest episode of both seasons. I think
I don't know about both seasons, but I think this season. Although 6, oh god, I'm not saying that. Episode 6 or episode 7. I think either of those two are the best this season, but I still don't think they're as good as some of them in the first season. Yeah, I have a reason for this. My thing about this season is it feels like this is season 3. It feels like there's stuff between the seasons we should have seen, and that they haven't explained at all, or they've just explained it away in one sentence. And I feel like that would have been a good season 2, and this feels like they've jumped straight to like a 3rd season.
Yeah,
because it was like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, that's the thing though. A lot of time has passed in between in like both real world and in that universe.
You can't hold up the whole DCU narrative for a season of Peacemaker. I get that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like there's stuff I personally wanted to see in this season, like coming off the end of the first season that I was excited about. I wanted to see what they did with the whole, like, his dad and the ghost and stuff. Well, not the ghost, but, like his visions of his dad and Goth and how the other team guys were going to find out that that he's still got the little butterfly guy. And they haven't explained it whatsoever in the show. The only reason you'd know about what happened to Goth is if you watch, like, part of one of the podcasts that they made. There's no explanation for any of that. His dad is like, the hallucinations are just explained away by a line from Adebayo, and I feel like it's quite mean-spirited the way they did that, saying like, oh, it's like those visions you had of your dad and those will haunted you for a while, and that's that. Like, that's not a fucking big massive thing that they were going to do. I feel like that would have been really interesting stuff that they could have made a second season about, and you could have evolved the characters, because it's been years. Like, if you think about it, at the end of the first season, we barely see them. Like, they sort of becoming a team, They're all a lot more happy around each other. They're working together well. And now we see them now, they're like fucking getting drunk together and partying and stuff. And it's like, whoa, now. I mean, I would have liked to see the in-between stages of these things. And that's what I think that the second season should have been. But I'm not saying this season's bad. I'm not saying that. I just wish that this was the third season and the second season was the stuff they set up in the first one that they've just completely fucking ignored or like pushed away by one line.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a very fair comment to make and a very fair complaint to have. I think obviously what changed a lot of things perhaps was DC being in flux, the company, like as a company, as a brand, as an IP, the whole universe was in flux for a lot of that, and then obviously you had the takeover with James Gunn and Peter Safran. I think a lot of things changed over time, and then enough time, real world time passed for things to have to keep up with and keep up with, if you will.
Keep up with, good one.
Thank you. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, James did say that he one of the original plans for season 2 was going to be the white supremacists coming back to take revenge on Peacemaker for killing the White Dragon, and it would have dealt with a lot of that sort of stuff, and perhaps then you could have dealt with the whole hallucination thing. And but his explanation for why he didn't do that was that it felt too samey to the first season. So yeah, I don't know. I do see your point, though. I do absolutely see your point. Yeah, and I hope we do get a season 3 off the back of what you said. I do hope we do get a season 3. Gunn said that we don't necessarily. It's not off the table, but he's not really considering a season 3 for where these characters go next. And I think he said, like, once you see episode 8, you'll know roughly where we're heading with these characters. And it won't be necessarily in Peacemaker season 3, which I think is a bit of a shame. But equally, I don't think Gunn will be able to resist getting the band back together for another season. I think he genuinely loves writing and directing Peacemaker. So yeah, who knows? But he did say that what Lex and Rick Flag are up to affects very much what happens in an aspect of Man of Tomorrow. So all of that is connected, but this relationship between Rick Flag and Lex Luthor is potentially a negative thing for Superman and metahumans. Which, by the way, it was so cool to see Nicholas Hoult in episode 6, I believe, of this show.
Yeah.
So cool. And the way he played it was so, like, it felt like a continuation of the character, but it was so radically different to how he was in Superman, where he was kind of still on top of the world a little bit.
Yeah, he's like completely like broken now. Like he's lost it. He's lost it.
And his voice was so much more sinister. It seemed like a lower register, and he seemed like he gave less fucks because he's just been rotting in Belle Reve for like the last, I don't know, fucking few months or whatever. So yeah, I'm interested to see where that dynamic goes. I think that's more so, if we're going to discount the whole multiverse situation, I think that's what will lead into Man of Tomorrow, is more so that relationship. That's going to be what cues up the Man of Tomorrow stuff, is that relationship between Lex and Rick, which could that be setting up an authority kind of dealio? You've got the more branded superheroes like the Justice Gang, but then you've got your freelance superheroes like Superman. But could that then set up, a more government sanctioned team to sort of take care of the other metahumans like the Authority or something like that? Is that maybe where the movie is going? Maybe it's Superman and Lex versus, I don't know.
It's very funny actually, because I was watching Dark Knight Returns last night, and obviously Superman's like working for the government in that film. Yeah, it's like a complete opposite of what they're doing in the DCU. He's like the government's lapdog in that film. They're like, yeah, you gotta go stop Batman.
He's like, all right,
yeah,
I'll do it.
He's like fighting for the American army, and yeah, it's very funny. Such a weird version of Superman.
Yeah,
but I think that's just like Superman of the time, because obviously that book came out a long time ago.
Yes, and obviously it's a lot more of a cynical alternate future sort of deal that Frank Miller's done there. Yeah, that's an interesting like side of Superman that we're thankfully not getting in the DCU. But yeah, I think potentially I can see the Authority coming at some point soon in the DCU, because they've got Engineer as like a hold up from that time where that film was happening soon. And I think Gunn said recently that it is still happening, but
it's not completely dead. Yeah,
it could still be a little ways off yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if they further that story and the engineer's story in other films before we get the formation of that team, or they get their own movie or whatever.
It's going to be such a long running gag. They're going to keep trying to set up the Authority, and he's going to show up in a lot of stuff, and it just never happens.
Yeah.
They're trying to get it off the ground. They're trying to get anyone invested in this character. I don't know. They could have. She wasn't an integral part of Superman. So
no, we could have done without her, but at the same
they
time,
could have changed her to a different character, and it would have been the exact same thing.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure you're right there. To be fair, speaking of characters, just before we sort of wrap up this topic, the characters in Peacemaker have had some brilliant chances to shine. Like, the actors have really John and
Ginger Cool.
Ginger Cool. Yeah, but John Cena and Jennifer Holland specifically this season, of like the last two episodes have both had some incredible scenes. Just really, really good.
Yeah,
really, really great stuff. I mean, truly heartbreaking scenes. The confrontation in the sort of interrogation room with Amelia saying, John saying, I love you, and Amelia being like, I'm a fucking nightmare. That was brilliant. The whole, breakdown of Peacemaker's character in episode 7, where he's cradling his brother's body, and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with us? And I love this character, man. James has done something beautiful here. We're taking this mostly unknown character and just making him such a great character with such an incredible arc over the last few seasons and in the Suicide Squad. God, and John's come such a long way in his acting.
Oh yeah,
he really, really has. He's doing a fantastic job, and he seems where we leave off Peacemaker at the end of this episode. He's very broken, and he's realized that the center of everything, of all the pain that he's experienced, is him.
Yeah, it's just his existence. He's going through it.
Yeah. He's really going through it, bless him. And he's killed his brother. He's killed his dad. He's killed himself. He's led him being there has led to his father dying again, and his brother nearly dying again. And it's just, he's really. I'm really intrigued to see where we leave this character at the end of the season, going forward into the rest of DCU, especially if we don't have a season 3 where we can develop him much further. I want to see where they leave him to sort of go about the rest of the DCU and where his character's at.
Yeah, what's he going to be doing next?
Speaking of what people are doing next, have you got any predictions for the finale? Because this is the time to do it.
Oh, I was gonna say, they're gonna. Actually, it's not a prediction, but I guess it kind of is. In the trailer, we see that they go to all these different Earths, or through the doors. One of them seems to be like Zombie Earth, and my thoughts was that it was going to be some sort of deceased kind of thing going on over there.
That could be cool.
There's obviously that weird candy Earth that looks like something like the Wizard of Oz kind of thing, with the road going along and the candy. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck that's about. And it's interesting though, right? Because they're not just doing Glupshito cameo Earths like they do on. If this was a CW show, they'd open the door and Grant Gustin would be chilling. Yo, what the hell?
Yeah. Or they did a lot of that in the Crisis on Infinite Earth crossover, which was cool. It was cool to see.
They did that in Doom Patrol as well, didn't they?
They did do that in Doom Patrol. Yes, they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
The last season.
Yes, because you had Beast Boy and Stargirl and shit like that. Yeah, of course. And Grant Morrison was in it.
Probably. Oh yeah, he was yeah. He was he was a magic dude or something. I can't remember.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a good point. They aren't really relying on but look at this thing that you know.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
The thing that you recognise. Bing bong, bing bong, bing bong. Look at me.
It's like I would love a little bit of that, to be fair. I would. Just a few things that, like, even if they're really like deep cut references, just a few. A few little things that I can go, I know that. That's
they
cool.
tried that in The Flash, and it ended up with no one knowing why Nick Cage Superman was there. So
yeah, that's a good point. That is a very good point.
That like whole sequence is like what people like expect now. I think we've been like conditioned by like The Flash and like the last few Marvel multiverse things to just expect the multiverse just be cameos and like alternate versions.
Yeah. James actually talked about that on the recent podcast, actually, like, and how he doesn't really vibe with that approach to the multiverse. But yeah, I can expect a few little references because there are a lot of doors in that universe, in that Pocket universe. So maybe a few references. I think that Adebayo's agency's got to play into it somehow.
With the
I think
money,
that's going to come back around. I think they're all the 11th Street kids are going to. I think that's going to what she's going to rebrand to, and I think the 11th Street kids are going to become their own privately funded, sort of agency where and team where they go out.
Economist quits his job. Finally.
Yeah, that would be nice to see him finally, enjoy his job going forward.
Can they hire? Fleury, please, so we can keep him around?
I would love that. Judo master as well might go on side.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. Yeah, I think that's definitely a direction that we're going to go in. I think it would be bad writing to set up Adebayo's agency and not really do anything with it or have it come back around in any sort of meaningful way. I can also see the Justice Gang coming back again. I think if we do get any sort of like cameos and big appearances in that episode, I think it will be the Justice Gang coming back around. And again, it'll be a callback to the start of the season where they were recruiting new members, but this time they've got a few new members. Potentially Blue Beetle comes back into the fold, Jolie Maraduena, which has been long rumored to be in this series. Maybe Booster Gold makes his first appearance, or you get like Fire and Ice or something. A few other Justice League International type members, and you get the Justice Gang making another appearance in the show. But I think that would probably be the extent of the cameos in the show. I think it would be like the Justice Gang coming back around, and you have a few new members on the team. In terms of what this series sets up, I don't know. I think
it's quite self-contained in a way.
I think it is, yeah.
Not as much as the first season was, but like it's not so much. It's more of a character season. Like the whole show is really, but I think there's a lot more character stuff in it than most other superhero stuff, which does make it feel more self-contained. They're not like throwing off random one-liners like about other characters and like, oh, what's going on here.
Yeah, I agree, and that is a real testament to the way James approaches film versus television. And I remember him saying that, he sees movies as plot driven and TV shows as character driven, and you can definitely see that when you look at Superman, which was very bang 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 bang, doesn't really breathe a lot for a lot of the characters, but it's very plot driven. And then you look at something like this that meanders a little bit more and dives into these characters and all their complexities, which is why I would love a Daily Planet or Jimmy Olsen show, because then that could potentially explore some of those characters that we didn't get to see a lot of in Superman in a bit more of a long form fashion. But that's a whole separate issue or discussion. But yeah, series, I would say to wrap up my thoughts on it, the series is going strong. I want to watch it all again once the whole thing is out. And really sort of dive into it a little bit more. But it's been really strong. It's been great. I love where the characters are going. It's given the actors some incredible chances to show what they've got. And they've definitely delivered on that. The twists and turns were fantastic. And I'm really, really excited to see where we go with the next episode, of which I have little to no guesses, to be honest. So, but it is an hour-long episode, which is good because there'll be plenty more content there as well. But yeah, going strong, I think.
Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw here today, then maybe consider subscribing to catch our other content as and when it releases.